Fear is one of the oldest forces governing human life. Long before modern psychology existed, the Buddha observed that people are often driven not by wisdom, but by hidden fear. They fear losing what they have, fear not getting what they want, fear being rejected, fear growing old, fear becoming insignificant, and ultimately fear death itself. According to Buddhist teachings, much of human suffering begins when fear quietly takes control of the mind. The dangerous part is that most people do not realize it is happening. They believe they are making rational decisions, yet underneath those decisions lies anxiety, attachment, and insecurity. This is why the Buddha repeatedly encouraged deep self-observation. He taught that liberation does not come from changing the world first, it comes from seeing the true movements of the mind. The first sign that fear is controlling your life is constant overthinking. A fearful mind cannot rest because it is always trying to predict the future. It imagines conversations before they happen, worries about outcomes that may never occur, and creates endless scenarios of failure. The Buddha compared this to a monkey jumping from branch to branch without ever becoming still. When the mind is ruled by fear, it mistakes thinking for protection. The person believes that if they analyze enough, they will be safe. In reality, excessive thinking often increases suffering because it keeps the mind trapped in imagined dangers. Buddhist meditation was designed partly to reveal this pattern. When people sit quietly and watch their thoughts, they often discover how much of their mental activity is fueled by fear rather than reality. The second sign is attachment to control. Fearful people try to manage everything around them. They become anxious when plans change, when others behave unpredictably, or when life moves in a direction they did not expect. The Buddha taught that impermanence is unavoidable. Everything changes: relationships, health, wealth, status, and even our own bodies. A mind that fears change tries to hold reality still, but this creates tension because reality cannot be frozen. The more tightly we cling, the more pain we experience when circumstances shift. Wisdom is not the ability to control every event, it is the ability to remain balanced when events cannot be controlled. The third sign is the need for constant approval. Fear often disguises itself as a desire to be liked. People may adjust their personality, hide their true opinions, or seek endless validation because they fear rejection. The Buddha warned that dependence on praise makes a person emotionally unstable. If your happiness rises and falls according to what others think of you, then your peace is no longer in your own hands. One compliment makes you feel worthy, one criticism makes you feel broken. Buddhist teachings encourage inner stability, a state where self-worth does not depend entirely on external approval. The fourth sign is avoiding difficult truths. Fearful minds prefer comfort over clarity. A person may stay in an unhealthy relationship, remain in an unfulfilling career, or ignore destructive habits because facing reality feels frightening. The Buddha emphasized right view, the willingness to see things as they truly are. This does not mean becoming pessimistic. It means having the courage to acknowledge suffering, impermanence, and the consequences of our actions. Without this honesty, genuine transformation cannot occur. Fear says, look away. Wisdom says, look carefully. The fifth sign is comparing yourself constantly to others. Fear creates a sense of lack. It whispers that someone else is happier, more successful, more attractive, or more respected. The Buddha observed that craving and comparison feed dissatisfaction. Even when people achieve what they wanted, fear quickly finds a new reason to feel inadequate. Social comparison keeps the mind focused on what is missing rather than what is present. A peaceful mind does not need to win every comparison because it understands that each life follows its own conditions and causes. The sixth sign is reacting emotionally before understanding. Fear shortens awareness. When people feel threatened, they become defensive, angry, or impulsive. The Buddha taught the importance of mindfulness precisely because it creates a gap between stimulus and reaction. In that gap, wisdom can appear. A fearful mind reacts immediately, a mindful mind observes first. This is why many Buddhist practices focus on breathing and awareness. By returning attention to the present moment, A person interrupts the automatic chain of fear-based reactions. The seventh sign is the inability to enjoy the present moment. Fear lives mainly in the future. It worries about what might happen next week, next year, or decades from now. Even during pleasant experiences, the fearful mind searches for potential problems. The Buddha taught that much of life is lost because people are physically present but mentally absent. They eat while worrying, walk while worrying, work while worrying, and even rest while worrying. Freedom begins when attention returns to what is actually happening now rather than what might happen later. Why did the Buddha place so much importance on understanding fear? Because he saw that fear shapes nearly every aspect of human behavior. People accumulate possessions because they fear insecurity. They chase status because they fear insignificance. They avoid silence because they fear confronting themselves. They cling to identities because they fear uncertainty. Yet the Buddha did not teach that fear should be hated or suppressed. Instead, he taught that fear should be observed with awareness. When a person sees fear clearly, without becoming consumed by it, fear begins to lose its power. Imagine a traveler walking through a forest at dusk. In the distance he sees what appears to be a snake and becomes terrified. His heart races, his muscles tense, and his mind prepares for danger. But when he approaches carefully, he discovers it is only a rope. The suffering was real, but the threat was misunderstood. The Buddha used similar examples to show how the mind creates suffering through mistaken perception. Many of our fears are not based on present reality but on interpretations, assumptions, and imagined futures. This does not mean that all fear is irrational. Some fears protect us from genuine danger. The Buddha recognized practical caution. However, he distinguished between useful awareness and psychological bondage. Useful awareness helps us respond wisely to real situations. Psychological bondage keeps us trapped in anxiety even when no immediate danger exists. The challenge is learning the difference. One of the Buddha's most profound insights was that fear and attachment are deeply connected. We fear losing what we are attached to. We fear not obtaining what we crave. We fear threats to the image we have created of ourselves. When attachment weakens, fear often weakens as well. This is why Buddhist practice does not focus solely on calming emotions, it also examines the attachments that generate those emotions. Consider how a person reacts to criticism. If their identity is strongly attached to being admired, criticism feels like an attack on their existence. Fear arises instantly. But if they understand that praise and blame are temporary conditions, criticism may still sting, yet it no longer destroys their inner balance. The external event is the same, the attachment is different. The Buddha also taught that fear diminishes when wisdom grows. Wisdom is not mere intellectual knowledge. It is direct understanding of impermanence, suffering, and the non-fixed nature of the self. When a person deeply understands that everything changes, they stop demanding permanent security from an impermanent world. This does not make life cold or meaningless. Instead, it makes each moment more precious because it is recognized as temporary. Many people spend years trying to eliminate fear by controlling external circumstances. They think, if I earn enough money, find the perfect partner, gain enough recognition, or secure my future, then I will finally be free from anxiety. Yet the Buddha observed that fear often follows people into every new achievement. External success can reduce certain problems, but it cannot completely remove the mind's tendency to cling and worry. Lasting peace requires inner understanding, not only outer improvement. A simple Buddhist exercise is to ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing right now? The answer may reveal the attachment that is controlling your emotions. Another question is, what future am I mentally living in instead of the present? These questions are not meant to create guilt. They are meant to create awareness. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. The Buddha's path was not a promise that life would become free of challenges. Illness, aging, loss, and uncertainty remain part of human existence. The transformation lies in how the mind relates to them. A fearful mind resists reality and suffers twice, once from the event itself and once from its mental resistance. A wise mind responds to reality directly, without adding unnecessary layers of panic, obsession, and attachment. When you notice overthinking, the need to control everything, dependence on approval, avoidance of truth, constant comparison, impulsive reactions, or the inability to enjoy the present moment, you may be seeing the hidden fingerprints of fear. The Buddha revealed these patterns not to condemn people, but to help them awaken. Fear loses much of its power the moment it is seen clearly. What remains is the possibility of living with greater awareness, greater courage, and greater peace. The path begins not by conquering the world, but by understanding the mind that experiences it.